What if Shanks trained Luffy? Episode 0, Part 2. Where we last left off, Shanks had just asked Luffy if he was ready to face the dangers of Ruskaina head on. Luffy looked up at Shanks. His eyes were glimmering with excitement, and said,
"Nope."
We skipped 2 months into the future. Luffy and the crew had been docked at Ruskaina for 2 months. The last 2 months on the rough island had changed everyone there. They were tougher now, ready for any challenge. Luffy would return back to the camp one night to see the red-haired pirates packing up.
Where are you guys going?
Kid, what do you think? We're heading out to sea.
Oh, really? Finally, we can go to other islands. I'm going to go pack up now.
Kid, listen. We can't take you with us. Luffy looks around the camp to see all the pirates looking away from him, down towards the ground or somewhere else. Yasab then says to Luffy, "Well, maybe you can go out to Syrup Village with my son. Remember? I told you, I have a kid you're in."
No, I don't want to go to some stupid village. I want to keep being a pirate with you guys.
It's not that simple.
No,
Kid,
you promised
listen.
me.
We're not gonna leave you. Like Yasab said, you can go to Syrup Village.
No, I don't want to go to some stupid village. I want to keep being a pirate with you guys.
You can't.
Where's Shanks?
Shanks had spent the first month and a half of the crew's stay at Ruskaina, teaching Luffy the basics of his sword style. He tried to teach Luffy to be more innovative with his devil fruit ability, and told him about a few new powers. However, halfway through the second month, Shanks took off on a sailboat. Shanks left Luffy alone for the remaining of the half month, to finish his training atop a cliffside facing out towards the red-haired pirates' camp. Ben Beckman would tell Luffy that Shanks left because of the reason they couldn't stay there. Luffy would yell in questioning, "Why?" Ben Beckman would respond hesitantly with, "We can't tell you." Luffy says in response to this, "Well, I'm packing up then. If you can't tell me why you guys want to leave, you can't leave me." Luffy then turns around, running away, pushing the crew members out of his way, and he starts heading deep into the dangerous jungle of Ruskaina. He runs to the forest, thinking how. Then a massive beast pops out of the forest trees as the sun sets on Ruskaina. When the sun sets on Ruskaina, a myriad of the island's most dangerous animals emerge. The hulking beast stares at Luffy. This wasn't just some run-of-the-mill tiger or elephant. It was a wild beast of massive proportions. At this point, Luffy had only begun fighting smaller animals, you know, ones that wouldn't stomp his child body into pieces.
Yo, what's up guys? I'm Sans the Pun Master, voice of Luffy. And we here at All-Star Anime Team, thank you for watching our videos. Don't worry, it's not over yet. But if you are enjoying this up to this point, like the video and subscribe to the channel because the crew and I are gonna have a lot more videos just like this releasing soon. And you wouldn't want to miss any of them. Anyway, without further ado, let's get to the rest of the video.
Luffy is nowhere to be found. The red-haired pirates fanned out across the forest, looking for him through the forest, going up against the apex predators of the great island of Ruskaina. The red-haired pirates would fight against these animals, putting themselves and their bodies on the line in order to save Luffy. Ben Beckman, the first mate of the crew, led the charge, championing the crew in place of Shanks to get back their young apprentice. Luffy at this point was running for his life from a myriad of varying levels of monsters that chased behind him trying to eat him. He hated feeling like this. He simply was not able to protect himself, just like the last time, when Shanks had to save him from the bandits and the Sea King. Shanks, he cried deep inside of his mind. What would Shanks do, he thought? Shanks wouldn't run away, that's for sure. He would stand up and take it like a man would, like a man with a true dream would. Luffy then turns around to face the monstrous animals that were chasing after him. He yelled out, "You want me? Come and get me." That proud yell stopped many of the animals in their tracks from attacking Luffy, but not all of them. A massive beast, who seemed to be some sort of leader on the island, hurled down toward Luffy. And once again, he was left powerless to stop it, to save himself. The beast would come down with a massive bite. The massive 5-ton gorilla, like an animal, flew towards Luffy with bloodlust in his eye, when, all of a sudden, Ben Beckman appeared. He quickly and swiftly got between the gorillas attacking the clash, and these two apex fighters caused a shockwave, blowing the young Luffy away from the place of combat deeper into the forest. Ben Beckman saw this and knew he had to save Luffy, but not before taking down this monster. Luffy was scared, Now deeper into the dark forest, hearing the sounds of the predators once again. He heard them circling around him. They wanted to kill him, to eat him. Luffy, shaking hearing all the sounds of the animals, and of Ben Beckman's duel with the gorilla, and the sounds of bloodlustful animals, he just couldn't focus. He had blown it again. What did Shanks teach him? Shanks taught him not to see with his eyes, to see with his senses, to look with his heart, his soul, his mind, to be free. A predator would all of a sudden attack Luffy, but Luffy, deep in his train of thinking, would not notice his sharp movements. As he drew close to the boy, that's when something clicked in Luffy. He saw it. He saw the snake moving to the forest floor, coming to attack him. Luffy, with labored breathing, had finally done it. After 3 long, grueling months of training, he unlocked the first step to learning observation haki without his eyes. He wasn't out of trouble yet, though. He still was surrounded by dangers. The predators circled around the child as he, still a potential meal for them. They would attack Luffy viciously. Luffy would run, but he couldn't see anything in the dark. He would trip and fall before he decided to close his eyes and see without seeing. He ran through the rainforest, dodging attacks and the obstacles in his path simultaneously, but this was taking a lot of focus. He had to truly focus on everything he was doing by tapping onto this ability, and even still, it was becoming hard to hang on. While Luffy, running toward the forest, became met with a dilemma. He came to a tree with 2 animals bursting from trees both on his right and on his left. He also had animals behind him, ready to bite his head off his shoulders. When Ben Beckman and his crew arrived, grabbing the animals by their long tiger-like tails and swinging them out of the way. They'd finally made it in time to save Luffy. The battle wouldn't be easy, however. They heard the stomping in the background as Ben Beckman finished off one of the massive beasts on the island. Another would appear as a result of the commotion. One of the kings of the island, the 10-ton Gorilla King, would arrive, and he didn't like the fact that Ben Beckman had just taken up one of his subordinates. The crew was now up for a real battle. Yeah, let's go.
Forget about the animals. Let's go help Ben.
No, we should go. Yeah, I'm with the kid.
With the encouragement of the crew from Luffy, they would head over to where Ben Beckman is fighting. When they get there, Ben is on the back heels of a crushing defeat by the hands of the Gorilla King. He was bleeding out profusely and had taken a lot of damage from the hands of the true monster. Ben Beckman would smile seeing the others and Luffy arrived. He gripped his pistol and gritted his teeth. The real battle starts. The battle would begin. It would rage on as the crew would fight hard in the combined effort to stop the Gorilla King's rampage. But his rage was massive, as the Gorilla King himself, and he would use it to fuel his attacks. With each wild animalistic swing, the crew would break down piece by piece. Yasab, Ben Beckman, and Lucky Roo would notice that they needed something to hold them together in this battle. A leader. Yeah, Ben Beckman and the crew could rally each other up, but they needed something that was really real. They needed Shanks, their captain, to reassure them. They needed his strength, and they needed his wisdom. As they were continually losing to the Gorilla King, a multitude of his subordinates and other predators on the group would arrive. Gorillas, tigers, snakes, and more crawl out of Ruskaina's rainforest shadow cast by its massive trees. Ben Beckman looks up at Yasab and Lucky Roo as they both shake their heads with approval. Those 3 took on the Gorilla King, while the rest of the crew, including the young Luffy, would fight against the horde of subordinates who've come to back the king. The battle rages on and the young Luffy is dodging and twisting and turning using his rubber body and his newfound ability as he closes his eyes and focuses on trusting himself as he weaves through the animal's attacks. But something is wrong. Something is missing. Every time he would try to counterattack, rubber-enhanced pistols would do nothing. They were falling flat on the animal's cheeks. He had to remember what else Shanks taught him. To harden himself through sheer will. To make his fist stronger and overcome the flaws in his abilities. To use his strong will to manifest his destiny with his fist. Luffy thought hard about squaring his fist up and hurling his body backwards, preparing for a punch like a pitcher would prepare for a throw. And while hurling his body forwards, his fist would feel stronger. His aura would surround his knuckles, and his hand would feel fuzzy, feeling like the finest steel, iron forged by a proud blacksmith. He would swing this into the 2-ton tiger, sending it hurling backwards towards its pack. The tiger hurled into its pack like a bowling ball, knocking down the pack and its leader before stiffening up. Luffy would stand over them, huffing and puffing like a gorilla, like the king of the jungle would himself. The reader would retreat in fall of Luffy, and subsequently his entire pack would retreat, leaving the clinging gorillas only with around half of his subordinates left. Noticing this, it only angered him more, and when he's angry, His entire herd is angry, and they rage on as they become even stronger in combat. What did Luffy just do? He looks down at his hands and he sees it bulk up and turns off muscle, then releases this gained mass as an iron fist turns into a rubbery one again. What did he just do? He finally realized the point of all those lessons with Shanks. If he could follow what he was taught and focus hard enough and focus like his life depended on it, he could learn everything that Shanks taught him and grow more in this battle than he ever did in those last 3 months. Luffy would go on fighting the gorillas as he would try his hardest to unlock the powers and abilities Shanks tried to pass on to him. We cut back to Lucky Roo and Yasob and Ben Beckman trying their best and hardest to beat the king of the gorillas as they're struggling and being squashed by the beast's massive powers and rage. Yasob would snipe from afar using his wit and gadgets along with his sniper to land attacks. Lucky Roo would attack head on using his strength to try and overpower the gorilla, and the heavily injured Ben Beckman would use his knowledge and experience to try and find the gorilla's weaknesses and take him down from there. But these attacks and strategies were doing nothing. The gorilla's rampage would get worse, pushing Ben Beckman to the brink of death multiple times. If they were going to beat this abomination, they would have to get stronger during their battle. Luffy, on the other hand, is getting stronger battling out with the lower and medium tier gorillas. Using his lessons with Shanks, he was getting attacked from both sides again, and thought of Shanks, and suddenly, with the calm flick of his foot, he disappeared and reappeared behind his enemies. When he attacked, he breathed in, hardening his fist to the level of iron again, and KO'd one of those gorillas. The crew were now holding their own against the gorillas, but Yasob, Lucky Roo, and Ben Beckman weren't. They were on the brink of death, knocking on death's door. Ben Beckman laid on the floor. Was this it for his adventure across the seas? Will he never get to see the world like he had again, like he and Shanks dreamed to? Will he never get to know the secrets of the Grand Line, like how they imagined those few years ago? Will he never get to see how Luffy's life turns out? If he really is who Shanks thinks he can be. Shanks, he calls to himself. Shanks.
Yeah, Ben, I'm here. Don't worry.
Shanks, with the flick of his leg, appears directly above the beast. Luffy looks up, seeing Shanks fly down from the air to deliver a Superman-like punch. Luffy focuses, zooming in on the entire encounter. He sees Shanks' arm covered in a dark ore. His muscles were tight like iron, but something else was also in play here. The gorilla falls to its knees. Lucky Roo and Yasob grab Ben Beckman and get out of the way as Shanks falls out of the sky gracefully to battle the king of gorillas. Shanks draws his sword with his one arm, and he, with a simple slice of his blade, defeats the gorilla. Luffy now begins to stretch his arms, going through the trees like Tarzan, swinging through them. Now, Luffy, in order to get to Shanks, was the first time he used his ability in such a creative way. He didn't even bat eye to it. Remember, he had just got his devil fruit only a few months ago. He wasn't on the level like he would be. He launched himself into the air, and as he was doing it, jumped down on the ear itself, somehow propelling himself towards Shanks. Shanks smiled as he witnessed Luffy do all of this. He is who I think he can be, Shanks whispered to himself under his breath. Luffy lands cleanly and runs towards Shanks, embracing him.
Shanks, I did like you taught me!
I can see that, kid.
We fast forward past this point. The crew are celebrating winning the battle and leaving the island. They feast on some of the island's more delicate animals and enjoy their night with drinks and laughter. Young Luffy suggested that they ate the king of gorillas, but Shanks decided to let the beast go alongside with his subordinates. They enjoyed their last night on Ruskaina, laughing and smiling. When Luffy wakes up, the crew is already packed and ready to go.
Come on, kid, we don't have all day.
Alright, I'm coming.
Luffy was still packing. He finished by picking up the final item he wanted to pack. It was one of Luffy's training swords. It was wooden and sturdy. It did the job even though Luffy was not great at sword fighting. He enjoyed it, nevertheless, and it was something that Shanks had taught him, so he loved it even more. Right there and then he made his decision. Luffy came up walking out, standing tall, with nothing but the wooden sword in his hand. He approached the crew and yelled,
I'm staying, I'm gonna stay.
What?
Get on a ship.
No, stop. Let me go.
Come
Yeah,
on.
stop.
That's when Shanks steps down the stairs of the ship, getting face to face with Luffy. Ben Beckman looks on, bandaged to hell, sitting on a wheelchair. Shanks says to Luffy, "If you're not going where you will go, you can't come with us. You know that, right?"
I'm staying. I'm gonna stay.
Where?
Here.
Where?
Here.
As the crew reacts in shock, Shanks laughs at the kid. He thinks, he never ceases to amaze me. Shanks then says, "Alright, before you go, I gotta teach you one last lesson. Come on, let's go." Shanks and Luffy then head back to camp on the cliffside overlooking the now abandoned site where red-haired pirates used to live. "So," Shanks says, "you'll stay here?" "No," Luffy rebuttals with, "I'm gonna go move. Maybe to a spot deeper in the jungle, somewhere I can get stronger, fast." Shanks sits down on the rock he would always sit down on to teach Luffy. Shanks says, "You're starting to figure it out." "What out?" Luffy asks. "The Rokushiki." "What?" Luffy says to Shanks' weird answer. Shanks then says, "The Rokushiki are techniques that you used the other day. You have the 6 different techniques of the Rokushiki. Geppo, or Skywalk,
I've done that before.
Tekai, or Iron Body, which you used to beat up those gorillas, Rainkyo, or Sickle Wind, a wind-based projectile attack that formed a gust of wind, and when an attack it creates uses it. For example, when I swing my sword.
What's a projectile?
Sorrow, or instant transmission, when you move at extremely high speeds, causing you to move from one place to another. And you have Kamai, or the paper arts, allowing you to move in a way that is easier to dodge attacks." "Luffy," Shanks says, "if you want to stay here and go into that forest against those kings, you're gonna have to learn all these forms of Rokushiki." Luffy shakes his head sternly in assurance. Shanks then says, "There's something else I have to tell you. Another set of powers that you will need to learn to conquer this island. Remember when I told you that you will see your will in that punch?" "Yeah, Shanks," Luffy says. "That's how I learned to use some of these Yoshiki whatevers." "Well, this is something different. Something called Haki. If you just want to survive, you won't need it, but if you want to become king, you will need it. Haki, you have 2 forms, observation and armament. Observation allows you to see better, and armament allows you to hit harder. Master them in order to become a king." Shanks then takes off his hat. He places it on Luffy's head. Luffy now understands the gravity of the situation. This felt more like a "see you later." "Luffy," Shanks says, "there's a reason we can't take you with us. A reason you'll find about soon. I got you something." Shanks then pulls out something from his cloak. "I got it while I was away. Here." Shanks had just handed Luffy a large dagger, but in Luffy's hand it looked like a sword, one that matches his size and matched his stature. "Now," Shanks says, "this blade is cursed. If you want to use it on your conquest, you're gonna have to conquer it, as well as this island. Bring that hat back to me, Luffy, when you become a pirate greater than even me, and amass a crew greater than even mine." Shanks then, with the movement of his cloak, begins to walk away. He jumps off a cliff and lands on the ground beneath him gracefully. Luffy, with tear-filled eyes, screams at Shanks as Shanks is walking away towards the ship.
I will become a pirate greater than you and build a crew greater than yours. I swear, Shanks.
3 months pass once again, and Luffy can make out the shape of a ship miles away from the coast of Ruskaina. Was it? It couldn't be, right? Luffy raced from his brand new camp in the heart of the Gorilla King's forest towards the coast. Luffy had now become the king of gorillas after the 3-month time skip, and was stronger, faster, and a little bit taller than before Shanks and the redhead pirates had left. Luffy moved through the jungle with ease, using Geppo in tandem with basic observation haki and Sorrow to maneuver quickly through the forest and arrive at the coast in under 7 minutes. Luffy would approach the coast as he saw a now massive ship docked at the coast of the island, where the old camp used to be, where he and the red-haired pirates would sit and laugh every day, where Shanks showed him what it takes to become a king, where his life would change. A shadowy figure walks off the ship at the dawn of day came bursting through, the sun casting a light upon the island as the sea kicked up in the background. This man would take his steps off the ship, and his nice shoes would hit the sand with pride.
Grandpa?
Coming up next on All-Star Anime,
Grandpa?
Shut up, kid.
Garp then grabs Luffy, scooping him up, dumping him on the ship, and sails away from Ruskaina.
No, shut up, kid.
Thank you for watching the All-Star Anime Team. Hope you give the video a like and subscribe for more content. And peace out.